We are going to create a website which is talking about music and obviously pulling out the data from the database, right? Now here I need to go to my C drive, exam, htdocs, and I want to create. Is that okay? So I've created a folder with my name, and I have given you a folder called as images, and I just said copy that images folder in that, right? Usually try that you keep your SQL with you. Does that make sense? Don't lose it. Because otherwise if you are trying to import, when I have given you the SQL already, so when you are working on your htdocs, try to keep the database with. Usually you will have it in your PHP MyAdmin. You can always export, but just make sure that whenever you will take your database with you as well. Otherwise it will be not available. Right. Now we copy the images folder. Now if you look at your database has got where is my, here it says image. So every image, every music record has an image associated with it, but image name is one. Now it corresponds to the image, but image is not stored in the database. Is that right? The image is stored outside the database and the reference has been given in the database. So if you look at the fold images I've given you, they are all named the same. They are named 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly the same, which correspond to the record. Is okay? Now what I want to do is I want to pull out these images and show them on my page with my records, right? Now if I look at my table, it says title, artist, type and rating. Is that right? So what I want is, on my website I want a navigation which says artists, type of music, and I want to say titles or albums, whatever you want to call it, right? So I want a navigation which says title, artists and type. Is that okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I want. So now for every page you need your navigation and you need your, and obviously navigation is going to be there on each page. Is that right? Now what I've done is I've given you a sample. I've just picked up a sample code for just this HTML. I'm not going to use this HTML like this. I've just given you a small look at. So let's open it. What does it say here? It's obviously it's using Bootstrap. So there's a lot of link for the Bootstrap. Is that right? There's a container. There's a Jumbotron, which is a general message. This is just a column and there is a button, and that's it. That's all what this page has. So if I was to look at this page, just, it doesn't have anything on the page. Is that right? It just has got this empty box and it has got this more button. Is that okay? And this more is a collapsible. If I click and open, if I put the data in, it's a collapsible button. It's a Bootstrap's collapsible. So here, if I go back here, so if I wrote anything inside it, because obviously there was nothing inside that box, that is why you couldn't see that it's a collapsible. Is that right?
Is that like menus? You have the collapsible menus.
No, it's a button. So obviously just is a text box which, or a div which you want to appear. Does that make sense? So what you're doing is you are picking up the feature from Bootstrap or a JavaScript, whatever it could be, and you have your data. So you want to bring your data inside this. Is that right? You want to bring your data inside it. Now first of all, my HTML page, I know my HTML page needs to have all this links and everything. It should have HTML head, meta, right? And obviously I'm going to write down a nav in a minute here, right? I want to write down my navigation as well. Is that okay? But is that going to be on every page? Is that going to be on every page? Yeah. So what I can do is, I don't need to write down entire code from here till here. This is making my file look so big, and I just can't handle that much. It's like too much data to look at in the first place. Is that right? So PHP says, or even HTML says, you can fragment or you can break your images into different parts and you include them. Save your data in different files and pull them together to make one big file when you need it. Is that okay? Now for your PHP page, it has to be a PHP, isn't it? So what I've done is I've just cut that whole information from here, and what I've done is file new, and I've just pasted it there. Is that okay? Yeah. Then I don't go back yet. I've not finished, right? So don't go back. So this is the link. There are obviously links to Bootstrap, and then there is a script tag. Is that right? But I know I'm going to use this, right? So what I'm going to do is write down. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call it as styles. It's okay? Call it whatever you want to call it, right? And I'm calling it, it's HTML. Is that right?
If you're going to include it, should it be PHP?
It doesn't have to be PHP. That's okay. To be inclusive in PHP doesn't have to be PHP. Okay? It's just a code. So exam ht docs, right? And in where is my music? Here. Yeah. So here I'm calling it as styles.html. Is that okay? Just saved it here. This is here. I know I'm going to need to include it. I've kept it outside. Is that okay? I also know that I'm going to need a navigation. Is that right? So I'm going to create file new, and let's say ul li, and I want to call it what did I say? Titles. Li artist.
There's an extra slash in your first LI.
Oh no, it's R missing. Just artists and li, or let's call it, is okay? And I can just do ul, and I can also do div id.
You can just call it nav. Call the element nav.
Yeah, I can call that element nav, right? So itself, basically, if I'm going to use Bootstrap, I can just call nav, or I can say class. I mean, whatever way you want. So if I just call it nav and close that here. Now, why I don't want to write it in my page? Because if I'm making number of pages, I will be writing them on all the pages, right? But let's say I decide to change it. I will have to go and change in every page. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go in every page and change it. I just want to go in one page, change it, and obviously all my pages have the updated version. Is that right? Now here, obviously I should complete this because it's not complete. So before you include them, there should be links, right? Yeah. So I'm going to call this one as titles.php. Is that okay? This one should be is that okay? /a, yeah, and this should be a href equal is that okay? So my navigation is kind of, this is what I want in a navigation. Do I need to add something in my navigation? I don't know if you have home. Which is going to be your index. You might, I don't know if there is anything else, just add that. Does that make sense? But I can update this anytime. I don't have to create all of them right now. I can always come back onto this file and update it anytime, and it will be all on the file. So I just want to save this as nav.html. Is that okay? So I've saved one file as styles.html. I've saved another file called as nav.html. Is that right? Now, this is my sample. Obviously, at the moment, I've just picked up this just to show you. But on my page, what do I really need? On my first page, do I need anything? I'm just imagining your first page is welcome to blog. For instance, it doesn't really have anything. It says welcome to music, or you want to probably pick up different things from different pages. I don't know, because home is usually different, isn't it? Home page is usually right. So in my home page or any page I'm going to create, this is doc type HTML. Here I can write down a
this one index page.
yes, I'm going to call it, obviously it is not an index page. This one is not index page, but I'm going to modify this to whatever page you want. Does that make sense? But what I'm going to say is this is going to be your empty structure of any page. We're talking about that. So here, PHP include. Include is how we include a file. So here, just specify that file and close your PHP tag. So the first file I want to include is styles.html. Is that right? And why is it gone in head section? Because it is styles. It can't go after head. So here I can say, obviously my page title is whatever. Now in my body, where do you want your nav to be? Inside your container, outside your container, where do you want your nav to sit? Is that right? So if this one says welcome to the world of music. Is that right? Now here obviously enjoy latest. I'm just not writing down, right? So that's now I want this is my container, and that's the Jumbotron, which gives you that black, the gray box at the top in a Bootstrap, right? I've closed the file, isn't it? This box. Ali, if you don't know, that's what Bootstrap gives us. A big box, the gray box, that's Jumbotron, right? So what I want is here, I've just written down that. Now I want my nav to be after this or on the top of it. It's up to you. Where do you want your nav? If you want your nav above this, just go here. Again, write down your PHP code. Yeah, just say include and say nav.html. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So obviously that welcoming can be left. I'm going to take this at the moment out. We will bring it when we need it, right? At the moment I don't need it. Yeah, this is my simple empty HTML file, which is going to be more or less the same. Is that okay? Now you could have your footer, which is going to be more or less the same again on all the page. So you can have your footer again saved as a footer, just include it at the end of the page. Is that okay? So if you have the right or left, we will talk about them, but then this is what you can just keep this as a simple page. I'm going to save this page as index.php. Is that okay? So that's my index.php file. Is that okay? Here, I'm going to go back here and go localhost. And yeah, I didn't save it yet. Where did I save all those files? File. Oh, they've gone in the K drive. C exam docs here. So that's here.
I think that like how to have a shortcut within HD Docs, like a shortcut on the desktop. So you click on it and it goes to the HD.
Oh yeah, you can have a shortcut. It's just I can show you how to do a shortcut. That's not a C and exam and HD docs and that's it. If you are in HD docs, just go to your HD docs folder. She said you here and exam and HD docs. Just click on it and say send to desktop.
Yeah.
And you'll have a shortcut on your desktop so that you can double click and you're in that folder if you want that. Is that okay? So just if you say that, if I have it, let's say, it will go on. Do I see it? Yeah. Yeah, so if I just double click this, obviously I'll go in that folder. But you can create a shortcut to other folder if you like, whichever folder you want. Just say that. So that's done. So we are here. Now if I was here, I didn't have that file. So if I just go here and do this. Yeah. Obviously we do not have the whole CSS. So you don't have this as because I need to use class. If I say class navbar, it will become, yeah. And all I think I have to just do is in here, if I just go in your nav and I just say here, I don't know whether it is navbar or I can't remember right now, but that's all what you're going to do to convert that. It's gone in the center. Just say nav. It obviously it has got the class. We just can go and look into that. I don't really going to waste my time doing that, but it's okay. This is the class which will change it into a button, basically. So that's your page. Now when I click on titles, I want all the titles to be listed. When I go to artist, I want all the artists to be listed. When I click on genres, I want all the genres to be listed. Is that correct? Yeah. Obviously, why I've done this now, because I want this structure to remain on all the pages. So I just do, so for instance, I want to use the same page. Now for doing every page, I need to connect. Is that right? Because if I want the details on every page, I will have to connect. Is that right? Yeah, what we're going to do is now here, what was your first code which you did to file new? What was the first? You've done this, isn't it? Let's look at how did we connect. Obviously, this will revise all your steps how to connect. You need to give a variable. Connect to databases. All right, that's your first step. Yeah. So to connect to database, you need to have a reference to that connection is equal to new MySQLi, and you need 4 parameters here. Now those first parameter is your server name. Second parameter is your username. Third parameter is your password, and the last database name. Yeah, and I think my database name is music. Yeah, and my table name is also music. So all I have to do is music. Right now, either I can create these 4 variables on the top and then write them, or I can write it down like this. Both are correct. Nothing is wrong. Does that make sense? But the only thing why people use them separately is because if I need to use a table name somewhere else or a database name again in the page anywhere, I don't have to rewrite it on the 2 places. It's just, why do you use variables? Because I can change at one place, and wherever I would have used it, it would have changed. Does that make sense? That's the whole idea. So if I create all these variables, just remember you can call them whatever. You don't have to call them. Is that okay? So if I've called it S, I just have to remember that I give it as $S. Is that okay? Is that okay? So that's your first step. You connect. right? So if you connect to database, what is the next step? Okay. Or die is nothing. No. What happens is, if for some reason the connection cannot be established, then the connect gets a error message number, right? Now you can check whether it has connected properly or not, right? So if I just check here, if dollar connection, even if I write down this, it will work, right? If not connection, if you write down if not connection, it will also work. Now usually what happens is, if it's successful, you get a true message, otherwise it will be a negative number to indicate an error, right? So what it is, but how do you fetch that? There is a, because connection is a big object, it has a property called as connect error, right? So if I write down this underscore error is greater than 0, right? That's the
Successful.
This will be not successful, because this is error number now. This is not the connection itself, it's the connect error, isn't it? Right? So you could put any message here to say that you can't connect. Or what do you want the computer to do? If there was an error, what do you want computer to do? Does that make sense? Now die is a function which says exit the program and with the error message. Is that right?
If connect error is 0 or less than 0, what it means?
Nothing. You won't have it. There will always be an error number, right? So I've not done this with you. I will stop here. I know you want to do it, but some of you obviously, there is a die, but die is not the error. Die and exit are two functions in PHP which tells the computer quit the PHP file. Leave the execution from here. Nothing will be executed after that. Does that make sense? So die means leave the program, basically. Leave the program, right? There are two ways of doing it. You either use exit or you use die.
So error number 0. 0 means there is no file. If it's greater than 0, it means
Yeah, because connection itself is different, and if you're going into that object and fetching up a connect error, that's different. They're two different things, so, right? So if I wouldn't even check, because there shouldn't be any error. You would have tested all this, isn't it? There shouldn't be ever an error in connecting. Otherwise, your whole website will crash. Is that right? If you can't connect, the whole website is gonna. So there should be never that error occurring in the first place. Yeah. But anyways, we usually do that in case if we are going to put down my website for maintenance, then usually we will not echo a message. We will redirect them to a page saying, sorry, our site is down for maintenance or blah blah blah. Does that make sense? Not that way. But anyways, connect. So once you've connected, what do you do? What do you do once you've connected?
SQL.
The SQL, right? But now this line is going to be used in all the files. Just this much. Because the query will be different on all the pages, alright? Because on my artist, I'm going to talk about artist. On my titles, I'm going to talk about titles. Is that right? So it's going to be different on. Is that okay? So you cannot generalize that here. You can't put that line here. There's no point putting that line here, right? But this is going to be used in every page. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually save this as call it whatever you want to. I call it base. This is my base file. I can't work without it, right? But what is important is, what have you given your variable name here? Because you're going to need this variable name later on. Is that okay? So I've saved this as base.php. Is that okay? Now I had my index. I'm going to do a save as. And what was my first? Titles. Is that right? Titles, artists, and genres. Is that right? So I'm going to save it as my titles. Is that okay? Yeah. And I'm going to do what here? Now in this, wherever I want, I could I've included my base file to connect. So I've included the connection. Is that right? I've included the connection. Now here I need to write down my SQL statement. So write down your SQL statement. Select star 20 star. You want all the titles? You want all the titles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, select star from music. Now, is this really query different on all my pages?
It will be, no, it will be the same because we have sent the same
Table. But my query will be different because in my second I'm going to say select distinct arcs. And then on my genre I'm going to select distinct genre type. Not all of them. You don't want to see records printed, isn't it? Type is going to should be whatever types is there, jazz, pop, country, whatever. Not all the records, right? So here this is select star from music. I need to do my result, which is connection, query. Is that right? It's like you have your connection. You are saying execute this query. What is the query? Is this query? Is that right? I mean, obviously you could write down the statement here as well. It's up to you. What next? What next? Yeah. Now usually what happens is, because you're going to display that data and that will be HTML, is that right? Am I right? So usually what will happen is you will never have this PHP finishing the curly brackets in the same place. While it will never be continuous until unless you're doing echo for each and every div yourself. Is that okay? It's up to you. So if you're going to do that, then I'm going to remove this and just leave it like that. That's your while. Is that okay? In while, what do I need to write down? How do I fetch record?
how will the fetch
Is equal to MySQL fetch associate with result. Is that okay? That's it. Now here you want to display your echo. What do I want to echo is $row type. Is that okay? And do I need to do anything else?
Close.
I have to
Config.
SQLi. Is it MySQLi close or is it just close? I don't remember the function. It's called MySQLi close. No, you have to close your connection, but I have to close my connection, but that's fine. This is my file. I'm going to change this code in a minute. Does that make sense? I just want you to see that everything is printing. So echo, and let's do BR for the time being. Or if I was to start a div before it, that will be div, and if it has to finish, it is going to be. Now this is how you see it. Does that make sense? So if you see it like this, you just do this. Because you want that div to be here.
Is it possible to have like PHP inside HTML, like inline PHP here?
Yeah, if you want to do inline PHP, you will have to close this PHP here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then write div, and then again start PHP. So yes, you can. Yeah. I told you the first day, it's up to you. Are you writing down PHP in HTML, or are you writing down HTML in PHP? That's going to be your choice. How do you do it, right? So
So even when like you're working with a connection, you can still close the PHP and then open it.
So now here, if I go back here,
Wow.
that's your titles. Wow. That's your titles. Is that right? Now once you've done this, you will obviously have to decide what layout do you want to give, right? But what I would do first now, the first thing which I will do if I was you and I was creating my website, I will do this as save as. What is my second page? Tests.php. Is that right? Save. What my query needs to change, because I want to display artists, right? And Dana, just because you are new and you might not know this, if I do a statement here which is select artist from music, it will give me only the column artist, right? But it repeats because if the person has got 2 songs, it's going to repeat, right? So just to restrict that, you can actually add the word. Yeah, we've done this in other class, but you were absent yesterday, so you don't know. We've done this in yesterday's class. They know that now, but you were not there. What happens? It will only give you the name once. Is that okay? So what I need to do is I need to write down this query in my here in my SQL. This is what I need to write down now. Yeah, but I'm not gonna say here distinct artist from music, and here it should change to artist. Is that okay? Yes.
In my table, when I selected, my table was like it had a space between them, so I couldn't use single columns to select it. I had to use backtick columns to select them.
You shouldn't have spaces in your table names. That's why I said no special characters, no spaces in your table names or your database name, nothing. And field names also, you'll have problems. So now that's one, and then if I say file, save as, I should do save. I hope I've done the save. Yeah, I've done the save, and then file and save as. John. Is that right? Save again. This time it's gonna be time. I thought I did.
Yes, it's the.
Yep. So select distinct type from music because the field is type. The type of music is type. So I mean my genre, I don't have a field called as, and there this should be type. So that's your save. And now if I go back here and I go back here, refresh. So, it doesn't matter what page am I on. So titles, artists, and genres. Is that okay? Now obviously I need to make sure what do I haven't decided yet how do I want to display them. Is that okay? I don't know how do I want to display them. Now remember we had the sample, your div, because we've already linked to Bootstrap. So it's up to you which class do you want to use, which column or whatever you want to use. Now in here, I want them to be hyperlinks. I want this jazz, country and hip hop to be a hyperlink, and I want them to be like next to each other. I don't want them to be like this. Is that right? I don't want them to be a list. I want them to be, but then when I click on this, obviously we'll talk about what I want when I click on them. Is that okay? Artists, same way I would want my artist to be hyperlinks. When you click on that artist, maybe it picks up all the no, there's no description about the artist. It's just like this is a different way of displaying the same information. You only want to show the titles for that artist only. Does that make sense? If you are in genres, then you want to, because titles will give you all the titles, is that right? Titles will give you all the titles, right? But you don't want to see all the titles. You only want to see titles based on artists. So these are the names of the artists. Click on the artist and I'll give you the titles only for that artist. Does that make sense? No, Nader? If I have not made them a link right now, but I'm saying if I convert them into a link, you click on that, I will give you only music from the whole database, only for those artists.
When you click on the artist,
Yeah.
how it knows that you are looking for the title?
Sorry?
When you click on that title link, artist,
Yeah.
how it knows that you are looking for the titles related to that artist?
Because I will tell him. I will tell the computer that this is what I'm looking for. I want the titles only for that artist. Is that okay? And this is with genres. So every page, we will not do that in a minute. I mean, this is the first page I will modify. How do you want the rest of the information to be displayed about the title? How much do you want to show? How do you want this to be a link? It depends on you. Does that make sense? Now, there could be a lot of information in the database. What do you want to show here? What do you want to show on the page? Is that okay? Now, let's say this is the title. I want to show what is the rating. I only want to show the rating and the image. Does that make sense? Or maybe the artist name. I don't know. You tell me what do you want to see. There is a rating, isn't it? There's a rating for each. Maybe you want to show the rating, you want to show the picture, and you want to show the name of the artist, right? So let's say, let's just do this much that we modify this code to bring in, let's open back that file back again, which is titles. Here, I just displayed title, right? I could display the image, is that right? So if I just say image, it will give me the image, is that right? And if I say rating, it should give me the rating. So if I go back here and I say this should be title, this should be image, and it doesn't matter what order you want, I just want that. Is that right? So if I just do this, now in your page, the titles, it's coming as 1, 2, whatever, and then obviously it's got the file name and it has got the rating in front of it, right? But I want this to change. Is that okay? That 5, that's 6, that 2, that's the name of the image, right? Now if you were to display this image as an image tag, what would you do? Just think, what would you do?
We're going to call the folder?
No. Yeah, you will need image tag. You would go need images and slash, is that right? And then obviously this is the file name. Can you imagine this is the file name? Is that right? This is the file name. Yeah. Because I've started inverted commas here, I will have to close that inverted comma somewhere here, and then close my PHP tag, img tag. But how do I write it down? Because I'm writing down everything through PHP. So that means this echo would remain here. Is that right? Inverted commas here, because it's a part of the speech marks. In that case, echo will go away from here. Is that right? But I will have to close this here because it's one string and that's a variable. Is that right? Because it's a variable. So you put a dot. Now here you put a dot here and you do this. This will show you the image, and that should give you the rating. So image source, images, and whatever the image name is, and that should be your rating. Is that okay? So if I go and save this and I display this, So there is a title, there is the image, and there is the rating. Is that okay? Kind of. Yeah. What div to use here? What div to use here? You can't use double quotes inside a double quotes ever, right? So if you're using, there is a double quote here, and inside will always become single. So now here, if I say column hyphen medium hyphen 4, they will become columns. They will become next to each other because that's what you have. That's how you want it. So they were like this, but just because I gave the size for that column, they've become like that. Is that right? Because I just chose, obviously because I'm using Bootstrap here, right? But if it was your own style, if it was your own CSS, it'll still follow the same, whatever class you assign. Am I right? If you know how you want your website to appear, as far as your CSS is there, you're just going to be using your classes and IDs, isn't it?
Or putting those information inside table.
No.
No?
No. Because HTML, we are not going to use tables. We don't use tables, right?
I know.
If you're going to use, we're going to be using divs, and we're going to be using like I want to use a hover effect. It has to be a class. It has to be a CSS link. So, does that make sense? So what I'm trying to say is, this is there, right? So, now obviously I want to separate. I don't want the IMG to be like this. Yeah? How do you want the IMG to be? Because obviously we wrote everything. There was no paragraph here.
Yeah.
So if whatever you want now, can I have a H1 tag or H2 tag here? If I start an H2 tag, that means my title will become H2, isn't it? So if I close here, after this line, if I close my H2, this is I started my H2, my title is H2 now, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So here, and here. If it doesn't have to be H2, you could have called it whatever tag you like, basically. What I'm just saying is, whenever you will give that, that's how it's going to become, right? Same way, I want the rating. Yeah? Can rating be stars? You okay, Dharam? You okay? The rating, do you want the rating to be stars, or you want the ratings to be, what do you want rating to be? Stars. Now, if you want that to be stars, just imagine how did we did that image?
Huh?
How did we did that image? It was coming from the database, right? Now, in my database, the rating is not a JPEG, but I can store a JPEG called as 1.jpg, 2.jpg, 3. So 3 represents 3 stars, 4 represents 4, 5 represents 5, right? So all you have to do is just say 5 images. Just 5. Okay, I'm going to do that right away. If I go to, I don't have them, but because you've told them, you want them to be stars. So, rating star right? So can this be my 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because no, this should be 1. This should be 1, right? So this can be 1. That can be 5. But this is 4.5.
No, this is 3.5.
Okay, there is 3. So obviously this is all, right? I've got all 1, 2, 1, half, 1.5, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is good. This is 1, nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I just take this one, here, save. Oh, there's a purchase. I don't want to purchase. I don't have the money to purchase. Just a second. Yeah, I will just gonna do that in a quickly. And call them as starts instead of. Doesn't matter which software comes up, just come. I can actually create it, it'll be easier, but why doesn't it say open with?
What do you want to open it with?
I want to open it with Paint. Yeah, I couldn't see it. Thank you, Lee. Here. Here. I don't need that, is that right? I don't know if we need it, we can keep it, but at the moment I don't need it. So C drive, exam, htdocs, and deeper music. Is that okay? Oh no, I did wrong. I shouldn't have saved this. I needed to. So one. Change the format. Use that PNG also, it is fine. So that's your one JPEG. That should be my. Yeah? Is that okay? So I'm just not going to save the rest, but that's just the concept is this. So in my HTML file, this is your rating. You need the IMG tag again, isn't it? So I'm just going to write down Mazino source equals. I put them in stars folder. But the problem is my rating is called 1 or whatever, but it doesn't have JPEG at the end. Does that make sense? Because my rating at the here, don't put a space here, just put JPEG yourself. You can write down JPEG yourself. Does that? It's 2 dots. 1 dot only here, here, and this is cool. Oh, because I did not close it. Yeah. So if what I've done is whatever the rating number is 1, 2, whatever, and if there is a star with that, you save the file with that name. Just call that file, and you will have the star underneath that. So if I just go back here, obviously this shows you there's no image with that number. Let's see if there was there any. That image is too big. Which images?
This image is getting from your folder.
Yes.
So I want to store them on the database.
Sorry?
You can store them on the database.
You can store them if you change your database type as blob.
And dog?
Blob.
But when I change it to blob, how do I get the images on the database?
You will get it once you read that blob and put it
It's
here.
once they upload, because that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
I have in mind how you put it there so that they're the source they upload.
Yes. You will have to save in the database basically. At the moment we have, I just changed that because there was an image which is too big. Height. I just wanted them to be all same, but we don't have any rating which is 1 or 2.
I thought I saw
Because
you put image
from
class.
GPU to
Yeah, but I have put, I want the image to,
There was one rating two there. There was one rating.
okay, how do I correct or how do I see where the problem is? My image is not showing up, right? Let's go view page source and see. It says here, this one is correct, this one is 5, there's no dot. Can you see?
Yeah.
How there's no dot here, but there in my stars one. Can you see my dot is missing? In my code, my dot is missing.
Yeah.
That's why. So if I just go back here, I've missed the dot. And I go here, and if I go and refresh, obviously this picture is too big. Obviously you'll have to have a very tiny picture for that. But yeah, I can, but then that's not a good practice because if your image size, I can change that height. Should be all right now. Even 30 pixels should be. Obviously 30 pixels has become maybe too tiny to see, and I should also put I mean obviously if the styling is proper then you would have done the class to say center. I mean I've not done all the styling through that code yet, so it's gone underneath. Does that make sense? 2, 1, so whatever you want. Yeah, but this is how you want them to be displayed. Is that okay? Yeah, obviously I will not do any more. We'll stop here. You can have the code and look, but the next step would be